You have not unmuted, Anika. Unmute yourself. Make her co-host. Anika is co-host. Ma'am, Anika is co-host or not? Make Anika co-host. No, she is talking. Anika is not talking. Okay. Yeah, Anika, please start. You have unmuted yourself, Anika. Just check.
Ma'am, actually the first.
Sanjana. Okay, Sanjana. Yes.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Just give us 1 minute, okay? So,
Am I audible?
Yes, now you can go ahead.
Higher education cannot be a luxury reserved just for a privileged few. It is an
Can you hear her?
economic necessity for every family. Truly said by Mr. Barack.
Got muted, sir. Got muted. Check. Other one can start, sir. No problem.
Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Avenue 2021, a virtual career guidance program organized by Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir under the aegis of Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman. This is day 8, and on behalf of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, we, Sanjana
And Anika are your hosts for this evening. Avenue 2021 is organized with the vision to empower and facilitate students to navigate the future and make their dreams real. Avenue 2021 holds significant prominence this year as it is for the very first time that we have student participation from across the globe. Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir is the proud torchbearer of this mega event under the auspices of Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman.
The flow of the program for this evening is as follows. We will begin with the welcome address, followed by a brief introduction
and a video on the university. Then we shall invite the esteemed representative from University of Guelph, Canada. After the representative's presentation, we shall request the resource person to answer a few questions raised by the attendees in the Q&A segment. Then we shall conclude the session with a vote of thanks. We take the privilege of expressing our sincere gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq Al Said, the Board of Directors, officials from CBSE, officials from the Indian Embassy, Mr. Alkesh Joshi, Honorary President of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir Management Committee, other members of the committee, presidents of the various school managing committees, our beloved principal, Mr. D.N. Rao, principals, vice principals, heads of various departments, coordinators and teachers of all participating schools, parents and all the enthusiastic aspirants.
A very warm welcome to all present here virtually with us for this session on day 8 of Avenue 2021. We have chosen a different gemstone as a theme for each day with a significant connotation. Today's theme is the blue gemstone, sapphire, which represents interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence is the ability to understand and interact effectively with others. It involves effective verbal and nonverbal communication, the ability to note distinctions among others, sensitivity to the moods and temperaments of others, and the ability to entertain multiple perspectives. Over to you, Sanjana.
Let me inform our dear audience. You are requested to fill in the feedback form posted in the chat box. And to our attendees who are viewing the session on YouTube Live, kindly use the link posted in the description box towards the end of the session. Filling this form is necessary as it would fetch you a participation certificate.
So let's begin with the session. Sanjana, have you made any plans for your higher studies?
Well, not yet, but for sure. This session is going to give me a lot of advantage in deciding where I actually want to be, since this session is going to be from the University of Guelph, Canada. The University of Guelph, U of G, is a comprehensive public research university in Guelph, Ontario, Canada. It was established in 1964 after the amalgamation of Ontario Agricultural College, the McDonald Institute, and the Ontario Veterinary College, and has since grown to an institute of almost 30,000 students and employs 830 full-time faculty as of fall 2019. It offers 94 undergraduate degrees, 48 graduate programs, and 6 associate degrees in many different disciplines.
It is ranked top 20 in Canada, ranked top 20 in the world for veterinary medicine, 5th position, 13th in food science, and 17th in agriculture science. Gordon Lang School of Business and Economics, AACSP, accredited and ranked number 2 for BCom in sustainability. It is ranked number 1 in Canada for student satisfaction, ranked number 1 in Canada for food on campus for 10 consecutive years. And it's a strong knit community.
It is my honor and privilege to invite Mr. Jimmy Hemmenbach, Regional Operations Manager, Middle East and South Asia Admission Services from University of Guelph, Canada, to take us for a virtual tour of the university and to let us know about the different courses it has to offer. We welcome you, sir. Before we listen to our stalwart speaker, let's watch a video about the university.
Hello, my name is Abdullah, and I'd like to welcome you to the University of Guelph, a place where you will come into your own. A place where you'll discover who you are truly meant to be. A place where everyone who studies here, explores here, plays here, teaches here, and works here is committed to one simple purpose: to improve life. We want to bring campus to you, to share some of our favorite places and our stories of what being a Griffin is truly about.
I'm a Griffin.
She's a Griffin.
He's a Griffin.
They're all Griffin.
Don't you want to be a Griffin too?
Don't you want to be a Griffin too?
Don't you want to be a Griffin?
You're gonna be a Griffin.
You're gonna be a Griffin too.
You're not just a number here. You're a Griffin.
Wow, it was a wonderful video. Indeed, an eye opener.
Now, I call upon our guest speaker for the session. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Jimmy Hemmenbach. Over to you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Sanjana and Anika, for that wonderful introduction. And good evening. Well, evening, I'm in Bangkok, so it's good afternoon for you, I presume. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I thank StudyCo and the Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir as well, and all the board of directors and everyone has been mentioned today for giving us this opportunity to present in front of you all today. So once again, my name is Jim Hemmenbach. I am the Regional Operations Manager for the Middle East and South Asia at the University of Guelph. Briefly about myself. Originally from Sweden, actually born and raised, spent about 12 years in the US where I got part of my higher education as well in journalism. I have my master's in Spanish philology actually from Gothenburg University in Sweden. So I have quite a diverse background, but have lived in many different places, including India actually, up in Mussoorie, for those of you who are familiar with Dehradun and Uttarakhand and that area. So I'm going to take you on a Guelph journey today, and I hope that you enjoy it. And I'm going to start off as well with sharing my screen. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to set it up. Two seconds. Okay, so let's share. I'm going to start off actually with a video. You almost gave away my entire presentation, so I'll try to show you a little bit of stuff here as well. So anyway, let's see where we are. 2 seconds. Yeah. Hold on. Start here. Can I move? Okay, now we're good to go. So I'm going to introduce a little video for you all to start with. If you don't hear any sound, it's because it's just music playing pretty much, and it's just visual. So just pay attention to the actual video. Okay, so that was a brief introduction. I'd like to show that video so you can get a quick overview of the university and get a better idea of what we are about. But I'll guide you through this process. We'll start with all the technicalities in terms of admission requirements. I'm sure that you're interested to see exactly what University of Guelph, where we set the bar. For you, mostly I presume that this is CBSE students that we're meeting today. And if that is the case, then 80% would be a minimum requirement for students. Now, the cutoffs for the programs, the majors that we have, they vary. It all depends on which major you're applying to. So one major might require 80%, another one might require 93%. It all varies. So that's important to keep in mind that 80% is the minimum requirement to apply, while the actual cutoff might be higher. We have an admission process also for those of you who are familiar with co-op. I'm going to go over that later on as well. But if you want the experiential learning component, how we select co-op students, that's also based on academics. So two programs may have different cutoffs depending on whether it is with co-op or without co-op. And for those who are not familiar with co-op, I'll get there, no worries. If there are students, I can just mention this in an admission context. Those of you who are doing the commerce stream, for example, and do not have math, keep in mind that arts programs at the University of Guelph are the only ones that do not require math. So if you are doing commerce without math, please have a conversation with me afterwards. We can talk about this in the question, the Q&A, if you would like to, because there are some solutions to that as well, of course, that you can take in the meanwhile while you're finishing up your degree. Other than that, I would say it's for sciences, we normally look at English, which you all have as an academic course. English, math, 2 sciences out of 3. That's normally what we're looking at for the science majors. Engineering, we're looking at English, math, and physics and chemistry. Those are mandatory subjects. Anyone want to go into computer science? I tend to get a lot of computer science requests. English, math would be those the subjects that we're looking for. Arts, like I mentioned before, English is the only required course that you need to have, and commerce. Those of you who want to go into our AACSB accredited commerce programs, you will need to have English and math as prereqs. So those are the requirements. If there are anyone else who has any other curriculum that you're studying, please let me know. But that was what I wanted to mention with the admission requirement. Tuition fees. The tuition fees here are for next year, actually. So it's not the current year. We already have the tuition fees from the upcoming year, 22-23. So anywhere from 30,000 per year to 42,000, depending on the major that you're studying. Arts and science majors are on the lower end, so 30,000. If you're looking at computer science and commerce, they're roughly around 35. We have landscape architecture. That's a really interesting major that we have. That is roughly 37, 38. And then 42 would be engineering. That is the most expensive major that we have. Residence varies anywhere from 6.5 to 8.5 for the academic year. And then we have meal plans as well available, 4,300, 6,500. So that will give you a brief overview of the financials. Scholarships. Entrance scholarships are available. They are automatic. You do not have to apply for those. I am actually the adjudicator of the Indian boards that we have, so CBSE, ISC, and the state boards. So what happens when you apply? I review your application. I normally ask for your 10th board exam. I'm looking for the admit card for 10th and the predicted 12th grade marks that you have. It's going to be the same this year. The only difference is probably that you are, because I think that you have 2 exams this year. So you will just have to submit the first exam as well in January when you probably receive it. But we are making the admission decision on the predicted grade. So that is really the key factor. 10th grade, we're kind of using to just compare the 2, 10th and the predicted, to make sure that there's not too much of a discrepancy between the 2. But yeah, so that's the admission piece. So entrance scholarships, they range from, like I said, 5.5 to 8.5, and they start at 85%. So all I do is just tag the scholarship to your offer letter if you get admitted. So it will be automatic in your offer letter what you have received. There are 2 more scholarships that are available: the President's Scholarship of 42,000 and the Leadership Scholarship of 20,000. You would have to apply to the President's Scholarship. The Leadership Scholarship doesn't have a separate application. So the students that are applying to the President's Scholarship are actually in the running for the Leadership Entrance Scholarship as well. So 1 person will get the 42,000 and 10 students will get to 20,000. You can stack these scholarships with an entrance scholarship as well. So if a student has received 8,500, for example, and the Leadership Scholarship, that means that for the first year, you will get 5,000, because it's 20,000 divided by 4 for 4 years. 5,000 plus the 8,000, so 13,500 would be the scholarship for that person, as an example. Moving on to the academics. So just to see what we are offering in terms of courses, we'll go first to biological sciences. And whenever you see a major in black font, that means that that program is available with cooperative education. That's how I kind of mark them, so you have that idea. On this level, of course, biomedical science is something we get a lot of requests for. Great program. We have a human anatomy lab where actually the community has donated bodies to the university so that we can work with actual body parts, which is very unique in a Canadian context. It's a great prep for anyone who's considering the medical field or want to take it in a similar direction at least. You mentioned the rankings earlier, but this is a strong area for us. Ecology, as an example, is ranked top 50 in the world as well. So you will find a lot of research opportunities here because we are the university, comprehensive university that receives the most research funding out of all of the comprehensive universities in Canada. So many opportunities here to work directly with faculty members or do research projects when you get in your upper years. Many great opportunities for you. Moving on to the physical sciences, you're going to see a large number of majors with co-op, not least. Computer science, like I mentioned before, that's one of the most popular one. The one thing to mention here is that the computer science, we actually have 100% placement rate after graduation of our students. It's a really, really strong program, but it's not only teaching you the computer and computer science, it makes you really strong within that area. And I'll get to this later on. University of Guelph is really comprehensive in many ways. We really educate the whole person. So you will graduate from a computer science program, most likely with great communication skills, with leadership skills. That's part of the community that we have on campus. So those are often really what gives the students the job. Because everyone graduates with a diploma. So you need to make sure that you have other skill sets when you are applying for jobs. But we'll get to the co-op part later on as well. Let's see if there's anything else I should mention here. No, biomedical toxicology, we see quite a bit of interest in terms of students who want to go in and work as an epidemiologist, for example, now with the pandemic. We also have, which I probably should mention on the biological sciences, we have a new major this year, which is One Health. I might be able to show a video of it as well later on if we have time. It's interdisciplinary and it's where human health, animal health, and the environment meets, where they intersect. So those are the three areas that we have brought together, and they are kind of the strengths of the university, creating one major. So we expect that major to be really, really popular. And it is kind of a response, I would say, to the pandemic as well, because there's a lot of interaction that we see between those three areas in a pandemic context. The Ontario Agricultural College, I would also say, is one of our fortes. Environmental sciences ranked top 100 in the world. We mentioned earlier, veterinary medicine, of course. Animal biology is the major that most students go into to start with. We are ranked number 5 in veterinary medicine, as mentioned earlier. Food science ranked number 13, so that's another strong area for us. And that's also any area that has agro at the university normally has roughly 4 jobs lined up for each student after graduation. We are in a really, really great province for anything that is agro related. So the University of Guelph is really the food university in Canada in many ways, not only the food we eat, and we'll get there too, but also because of the food science and agro business, if you want to get into the business side of things, is a really, really strong area for the university. Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, of course, ranked number 17 in the world as well. So it's really, really strong at the University of Guelph. Moving forward, trying to be mindful of the time as well. Engineering. The different majors that we have here, all majors are available with cooperative education. So mechanical, computer engineering, you can see them all there. What's special about the engineering program at the University of Guelph? It is definitely interdisciplinary. We have something that we call, it's an annual project that students are working on. You have to, if you're an engineer student at the university, have this annual project with 2 other engineering students from other majors. Okay, so you can be a mechanical engineer. You are working on this annual project with a biomedical engineer and maybe an environmental engineer. And you create something, maybe a prototype. And towards the end of the semester, we have a big expo where companies can come onto campus and you present what you have. Some companies actually implement what we create and also set students up, of course, for job opportunities later on. So this is really, really good program in that regard. You become not only a master of your area, but you also understand engineering from many different angles because of this. So worth highlighting. Arts is an area that is really strong at the University of Guelph, which you can tell here in terms of employment. 92.9% of our BA honors graduate with, they get employed within 6 months of graduation. And that is one of the top numbers in Ontario. So we're known for having a very strong social science program. And you can tell that we have added a lot of co-op to this program as well. So definitely something to look into. I mentioned the business program that requires math, or the commerce program. If you're doing, what do you call it? Commerce without math. Economics could be an area that you could go into because it doesn't require math. So if you just say like, no, I'm not going to do math, I'm not going to take math, I can. Economics could be one way in for you. Food and agriculture economics is also something I would recommend in that regard. Most students I see from the Middle East and from South Asia, where I work, is definitely psychology. Psychology, I see quite a bit coming to the University of Guelph. Also political science to a certain extent, but psychology definitely the main one. Creative writing is a new major for us as well. So I'm excited to see where how many students we get for those. Back to that one, to athletics. I'm gonna see if my computer collaborate with me. I'm gonna start up this video as well. In terms of activities that you can do at the university, we have some really, really strong areas. This is one of them, and I'm gonna show you a brief video so you get an overview of what you can do as an athlete.
This is the heart.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to jump over to another presentation. Just give me 2 seconds. But that is an area that we are really, really strong in, like I mentioned before. I would say that is also the intramurals that we have available that are really, really great. So it's not only about competing in sports. We have all kinds of different opportunities for students. So let me see, let me just flip this one. That way I'm going to start talking about experiential learning. So I think that is something that is really, really crucial for anyone who's considering Canada to really find out about what is the experiential learning that we're talking about. We're talking about co-op, we're talking about internships and other opportunities. Co-op is kind of the staple, I would say, of Canada currently. Lots of universities are offering co-op. We are the third largest co-op in the province. So there's a lot of opportunities for students in many different majors. I can get started with an example. Let's start with this. So this is management, economics, and finance. I actually didn't mention the commerce programs, they fell away. I can talk about them in a second. Here you see that there are 5 co-op terms available. It's a 5-year program. So normally a bachelor's degree in Canada is 4 years. When you're adding co-op, often you add a 5th year. A lot of parents, students, they are obviously saying that that's a long time. It's going to be more expensive. I am going to try to kind of break that down to you so you have a better understanding of what to anticipate. And this may look different depending on which university you're talking to as well. So pay attention to that when you're speaking to other reps. At the University of Guelph, this is management, economics, and finance. You have 5 work terms. You have 8 academic terms, which is 4 academic years. Okay, so just like any other program. But what we're doing here is that we're adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 work terms. Those work terms are full-time positions when you don't study. And when you don't work, or when you work, you don't pay tuition. You only pay tuition during the academic terms, and that's it. Okay. So in these work terms, you earn roughly anywhere between 10 to 12,000 Canadian dollars. So in a program like this, you will probably be earning anywhere from 50, 60,000 Canadian dollars. Okay. That's a great addition to your bank account, of course, but even more importantly, anyone who's considering staying on in Canada after graduation, which I know that a lot of students are looking at, this is a way for you to build your resume, to kind of create a platform that you can really show employers when you're done, what you have done, that you understand not only your area of expertise, but also the Canadian context, that you have been working at other companies in the region, because as an international student, you are going up and you're competing against Canadians who were born and raised there. They worked, maybe for years, when they were in high school and whatnot. A lot of students come into the University of Guelph from abroad without any work experience at all, which means that you need to pick up quite quickly to make sure that you become competitive in the market. So this is a great platform to do such thing. So really how it works is that you are studying the first year, then you take a course called Co-op 1100, which is an introduction to cooperative education. You learn how to write a resume, you learn how to write a cover letter, and they do mock interviews with you, so they prep you for the job search. We don't assign students jobs, which I think is great actually, because it requires you to apply. You apply to maybe 5, 10 different positions, and you might not get your 5, 6 first choices, but you land a 7th. That once you have a job, then things are going to just continue to roll. So that's kind of how it is. So I think rejection is good, especially at this point of your life and in your degree. So it's better to learn how to improve your interview skills and your approach to employers. But that's what it is. So you would graduate with 1 year and 8 months of full-time employment in Canada from this particular co-op program, which is great. So there's a huge value in this. This is the campus. So you see it behind me as well. I can just quickly guide you through it so you understand exactly what it is. You have the South Dorm on this side. You have the East Dorm, which is over here with the high-rise building as well, the apartment building. You have the North Dorm. This is Gordon Lang School of Business. So anyone who wants to study business should be over there. You have the Creelmans, which is our #1 dining hall. I'll get to the food in a second. This is Johnson Hall, also a dorm that's available. This is the university center that we have here. That's the heart of the institution. So we have the president there, our offices are there. You have a food court, you have the university center, what do you call it? Area downstairs. We have a lot of exhibitions, we have concerts, we have atrium area was what I was looking for. That's where we have a lot of events happening as well. So it's one of the most vibrant places on campus. School of Engineering, right next door to the University Center, and the science majors are over here. Computer science right in front, and across we see food science and veterinary medicine as well. So this is the University of Guelph. It's a beautiful, beautiful campus. And really, really a tight-knit community. That's what we're known for in a Canadian context as well. Food on campus, I don't want to make anyone hungry right now, but I am going to rave about our food. We've been ranked #1 in Canada for the past 10 years for food on campus. We have an Indian executive chef. We have him to thank for quite a bit, I guess. He has worked for prime ministers actually in India, so he's well renowned. But the food is excellent. It's stellar. It's really restaurant food that we have on campus. So you can choose pretty much anything. We have Mongolian barbecue. We have brick oven pizzas. We have sandwich stations, vegan, vegetarian, Indian food, actually. You name it, it's all there. And we do accommodate students that have dietary restrictions as well. So we make sure that everyone's belly is full. That is one of our main priorities for sure when you're on campus. I talked about the community as well, that we're a very tight-knit community. And anyone who is a foodie, you don't have to be a foodie necessarily to understand it, but that is something, food brings communities together. And that's really something that we do at the university. It's a way to gather around, right? And we do that in the best possible ways. This also extends this outside of campus. The food in Guelph is brilliant. It's a very foodie city. So I lived there for about 1.5 years, and I was extremely, extremely happy being there at that time. So that's what you're going to expect in terms of the culinary side. Athletics I showed, I'm not going to talk too much about this. I'd rather talk about the intramurals that we have. We have sports or activities, I should say, that are available for everyone to sign up on a weekly basis. That could be anything from underwater rugby, that could be regular pickup soccer, that could be Quidditch. We have a Quidditch team as well. We have badminton. Yeah, everything is there. If you just want to do workout, you can do, obviously you see like 1/4 of the gym here. The gym is huge. It's absolutely massive. But there's also other facilities where you can do Zumba, you can do Pilates, we have martial arts, everything is available. The intramural program that I mentioned had in 2019, 16,500 participants. That's an insane number, but I think that exactly shows what we are about. We are good at developing not only students academically, but also socially, with leadership skills, with these soft skills that are so important when it comes to employment. Scope is not necessarily always with the degree. It is with what you do during these 4 years to kind of form you and shape you as a person. Getting involved, there's also clubs available, of course. I presume that there's a lot of Indian students on this call, which means that we do have an Indian student association. We also have a Hindu association, and they collaborate, the two of them. I know that they're gathering now for Diwali and whatnot, because that's happening, and those events, they are happening on campus as well. The preparation, they all get together. So that's, if you want a piece of home, you will definitely get that in Guelph, that I can guarantee you. But the other clubs that we have as well, like I said, about 200, they're very active. So you can always find something to do on campus. I will also mention the volunteering piece. Guelph is a volunteer. Volunteering is a Guelph thing. We always say that. It's like a saying in Guelph that everyone volunteers. Why is it a Guelph thing? It's because of the community once again. I'm not only talking about the community on campus, but also off campus. Guelph has 133,000 people living there. We're 1 hour outside of Toronto. So in a suburban area, but with a community that is really, they really feel as they're part of something. And the university is the heart of Guelph, which means that you are in a really great position here to learn, to connect with people and also learn about the Canadian context as quickly as possible, which in my opinion is one of the key things when you go abroad as an international student. Couple of things, visit us virtually. I think this is something, I'm not going to try to teach you anything about Instagram or YouTube, because I think that you have a pretty good idea about how that works. So follow us. I can mention the admission Instagram, and also our student experience Instagram. I think they're great. YouTube videos are available as well. The uni buddies that you see here, you can find on our website. I highly recommend you to connect with us via uni buddies, because that's a way for you to speak directly with our current students in the different programs. Ask them anything. There's a lot of Indian students on the Unibuddy as well. I work very closely with some of them. And if you want to know more about the actual programs that we have, you see the fall events here. The fall preview day is happening November 7th. So you can take a photo of this and sign up if you would like to. It's a great opportunity to see, to get to hear directly from faculty members. Unibuddy Live, those are events that we have every Thursday as well. So you can join those whenever you want to. We do have representatives in the Middle East, actually. Dr. Mariam Sheikh, she is in the UAE. So if you want to get in touch with her, you can do that. She's kind of the key person in that region. But I stay in touch with her pretty much on a daily basis. So if there's anything that you want to hear from me as well, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. So just to finish off, you're not a number, you are a Griffin, like you heard in the beginning. That's how we identify ourselves. We are Griffins. So with that, I kind of leave it. I will mention because I didn't go over the commerce programs, and I will mention that later on, but I'll take the questions first and then I can present that. So I will pass it over to you again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was truly an enriching and empowering session. So may I request you to answer a few queries which have been raised by our valued audience? May I request the teacher moderator to ask the questions posed by the audience?
Yes, thank you, Anika. Hello, sir. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm also fine, thank you. First and foremost, let me tell you, while listening to you, I felt you're a very warm person and someone very, we can feel comfortable speaking with. And now I understand why the University of Guelph is known as a strongly knit community, because you provide such a helping hand to everyone. That's wonderful. Now, there are some questions that have come. I will just ask you a few of them. First and foremost is the question from our head counsel boy. He says, sir, could you please explain what is the leadership scholarship entrance? And does the university have any basic mark a student should have when they're sending their mark sheet? I believe you said 80, if I'm not wrong. But if you could just elaborate on that.
We're not, absolutely. And in terms of the admission criteria, I mean, 80% is the minimum requirement. We're not as transparent in the different cutoffs as you probably would like. So what I can say is that in general, there are a couple of majors that kind of stand out. Computer science, like I mentioned, if we talk about the admission cutoffs first, computer science, software engineering, high 80s, lower 90s. Biomedical engineering is going to be up there as well, probably even higher, 92, 93. Most programs are somewhere between 80 and 87. When it comes to the leadership scholarship and the president's scholarship, they kind of have the same criteria since you are applying to the president's scholarship from the get-go. So that is a 90%. 90% is the minimum requirement to apply for the president's scholarship. And you are automatically qualified then for the leadership scholarships. They are kind of 2 in 1. But yeah, I can also, let's see if I can post a link in the chat box so you can have all the information there too.
Yeah, that would be a good idea, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go ahead with the next question. So the next question says, do you have any courses for commerce without maths, and what will be the criteria for them? So I think we are back to commerce now. Yeah.
Yeah. I can actually share. I mean, commerce without math, then I already mentioned it in the presentation, actually. Those are the arts majors that I was showing. So economics, food and agriculture economics, those would be the ones that you probably would consider if you would like to get into any commerce program without math. it is possible for you as well to get into those programs and then switch over to commerce. You just make sure that you take math that first year, and also talk to your academic advisor and say that this is my objective, this is what I'm planning to do. So they make sure kind of to guide you, and then you make the switch. I had one Indian student who did that last year, for example, from economics to accounting. So it is totally possible. And she actually got co-op on top of it, which she was lucky, I can say that, because that's not easy. So it is possible, but that's how I would say any student who would like to go into, who does not want to take a math course can choose those ones. Having said that, let me just piggyback on that, because I mentioned there are ways to actually get this math course if you're doing commerce without math. There is a platform called ilc.org or Virtual High School in Canada. They offer a course called MHF for you, specifically if you're going to go into commerce programs or you want to get into biological sciences. Then MHF for you, that's advanced math or advanced functions. That is the course that is required for those majors. You could take that course separately as you, either while you're studying, but all you have to do is sign up for the course, show us the proof of enrollment when you apply. That way we know that, okay, you are aware of this and you are on track to actually finish this math course. You can do that, and we will accept you conditionally based on that, just on the enrollment. You need to finalize the course before August 13. And specifically when I'm talking about CBSC or talking to CBC students or ISC students, I always say that it's great for you because you're done with your school in March, pretty much. After that, you can actually take your time. So April, May, June, if you just want to work on that math course during that time, you can and just finish it off. It's different if you're doing like IB, A levels, all those, because they go on all the way to like midsummer at least. So that's something I would actually recommend you to do if you want to get access to the commerce programs. So let me just mention the commerce programs as well, so I don't forget it again. So the commerce programs that we have, they are management, economics, and finance. You saw it. Management, we have marketing, we have accounting, food and agricultural business is actually an area that I recommend students to go into. Is really, especially when you're looking at scope, what you can do afterwards. There are plenty of opportunities, and those are transferable skills as well. So even if you want to leave the field and go into something a little bit more general afterwards, you can totally do that. That's perfectly fine. Real estate is another one that is available as a commerce program. We had hospitality management. We don't offer it for fall 2022. But yeah, I think those are the ones that I should mention.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
One of the students is asking, will there be any advantage for students who have a good history of, playing good sports? If they have.
I wish I could say yes, but it all depends on what the question is about, I think.
Okay.
In terms of admission, none. There's not going to be any advantages for that. If you're looking at, and I say that as a former student athlete, I was captain of the soccer team at my university in the US when I was there. So I was like, it's a big thing for me. I love speaking to students. In a Canadian context, they don't give out as much scholarships, I would say, as they would do in the US. The US is a little more, they give out a little bit more money for sure. But for academics, we're very strict. And Canada is very boxy in general. They're just looking for academics. And that's it. There might be some universities that are asking for personal statements, but they're very few. Like you mentioned, like you heard, maybe I didn't mention anything of that because I always get those questions. Let us a recommendation, personal statements, blah, blah, blah. I don't want any of it. I want your 10th board exam. I want your admit card for 10th, and I want your predicted grades. That's for admission. You are exempt when it comes to IELTS and TOEFL. You don't have to take that if you have done the CBSE board. It will probably become a requirement for you when you apply for your visa later on. Then normally IELTS is a requirement, but in the admission process, it's not going to be a requirement for CBSE students.
Okay, thank you so much. It was really lovely, hearing you, and the whole presentation was very well balanced. Everything was informed. So my best wishes and thank you so much for giving your time. Over to the compares, sir. Have a good evening. Over to the compares.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're truly grateful for your relevant, valued, and patient answers. I'm sure the participants are enlightened and have got a true picture about the courses and prospects available for them at your esteemed organization. Audience, kindly remember to fill in the feedback form for your participation certificate. As we have come to an end of this session, it is my privilege to propose a word of thanks. On behalf of Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir, the organizing team, and the entire audience, let me first express a profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said for the magnanimous benevolence showered on the Indian community in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower abundant blessings on His Majesty and this flourishing and beautiful nation. We extend heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker from University of Guelph, Canada, Mr. Jimmy. Thank you, sir. The session was truly informative and enlightening. Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Shivakumar Manikam, Chairman, Board of Directors, and other honorary members of the Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman. Thank you, sirs and ma'ams, for your valuable presence and guidance at all times. Our sincere thanks to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, Honorary President, Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir Management Committee, and other members of the committee for their overwhelming encouragement at all times. I also wish to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to our tower of strength and source of motivation, our beloved principal, Mr. D.N. Rao. Our sincere gratitude to principals, vice principals, assistant vice principals, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching community of all the participating schools for their support, guidance, and active involvement. We are indeed grateful to our platinum sponsor, StudyCo, gold sponsors, Jain Group of Institutions, Grey Matters Academy, Vellore Institute of Technology, and Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education. Bronze sponsors, Middle East College, Thapar University, MIT World Peace University, and Dallas Baptist University. Our digital partner, Spectrum, and our media partner, The Arabian Stories, for their support in making this mega event a tangible reality. I wish to thank each and every student and parent for their valuable presence in making this Global Career Fair Avenir 2021 a grand event. An event of this kind requires the coordination of a committed team. My earnest and heartfelt thank you to my ISWK team for working tirelessly behind the scenes and making Avenir 2021 a global event. Last but not the least, I thank Almighty God for making this session a great success. Before we leave, let me inform you about the upcoming sessions for today from 5:45 to 6:30 p.m. We have in room number 1, Vellore Institute of Technology. In room 2 and 3, we have Ms. Malvika Iyer talking on breaking barriers, and Dr. Ajit Jain in room 4. Thank you all. Your hosts for today were Sanjana and Anika. See you soon for the next session. Take care and have a wonderful evening ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Haminbach. I hope we see you soon. Have a good evening, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.